What's up, YouTube? It's Toby Ramone, and I'm going to be talking about Superman today, the new 2025 movie. I'm just going to start with saying Superman's my favorite character of all time, so honestly, I am kind of biased towards the character and predisposed to like the movie, but it also means I'm set up for disappointment because I have really high expectations, and if I hadn't liked it, I would have been really disappointed, but I'm happy to say I'll just cut to it. I thought it was great. I thought it was just a great Superman movie, a great superhero movie, and a great comic book movie. It really felt like it was from a comic book world. And I know I'm not the first person to say that, I heard that all over the internet before I even saw it, but it is just fantastic. Like, from beginning to end, there's just so much going on in the best possible way. I did feel like the story was more focused than some people are giving it credit for, and that's valid if that's how they saw it, but to me, I do think it was a focused movie. It focused all around Superman's journey, which is what it should have been. The side characters were side characters, and they were great side characters that stood out, but it was all very centered around Superman and Lex. And that's where I'll start, is with the acting. David Cornsweet he is a fantastic Superman. Like, I feel like he's someone, now that I've seen it, he was born to play the role. I'm a lover of the Henry Cavill Superman movies. I love Man of Steel. But, this is bringing something very different. And for, the joyful, happy Superman, that honestly, as much as I do love the Henry Cavill ones, I'm excited to see something a little happier, and David Cornsweet, he just absolutely embodies it. He is so perfect for the role. He kind of has, I guess his sense of humor is kind of like this aw shucks type attitude. The way he responds to everything, and you can tell he's just a Superman that he loves saving people, and deep down he is so good and trusting of people. And then on the other side of that, the opposite, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor was also just incredible. Automatically, I haven't seen Smallville, and I know a lot of people think that the Lex Luthor from Smallville is the best live action we've had. I can't remember his name right now for some reason. I know it, but I haven't seen Smallville, so I can't really factor into my review whether I think Lex is better than him. But out of the movies we've had, and all respect to Gene Hackman, Nicholas Hoult is the best Lex Luthor. He just has this massive, he just has hater energy. He hates Superman. You can tell. He just hates his guts. He makes it so clear, and I kind of love the way they characterized it. He will go so far just to make Superman look terrible, and he just has this jealousy for him and this pure hatred, and I think it's how the character should have been played and how he should have been written. And I loved this version of Lex, and I'm excited to see more of him. And another compliment is Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. She's my favorite Lois Lane. But with Lois Lane, Rachel Brosnahan is just perfect for the character. There's the scene that's in the trailers where she's interviewing Superman, and it just shows Lois Lane is a great reporter who is honest, and no matter who you are, she is not going to give you an easy interview. She's going to ask the hard questions. Doesn't matter, if you're Superman, her boyfriend, anyone. She will ask you what she wants to ask, no matter what. Jimmy Olsen was great. I liked everyone at the Daily Planet. I was pleasantly surprised with Miss Tessmacher having a bigger part in the movie than I thought. And yeah, they were all great. And then when we get to the other metahumans in the movie, there's the Justice Gang and Metamorpho. And I gotta say, a lot of people think Mr. Terrific is the big standout. And I can't argue that. He is so amazing in the movie. He's funny and cool, and just every time he's on screen, he just steals the scene. And honestly, no one knew who Peacemaker was before we got the Suicide Squad, and then he got his own TV show, and it was great. I'm just hoping, I'm just praying, James Gunn, please give us a Mr. Terrific TV show, because what an amazing character. He brought so much energy to the movie. And the same goes for Metamorpho, who I think was my favorite of the metahumans besides Superman. I loved the way, I think his name is Anthony Carrigan, played him. He just had a lot of humanity and emotion to him, and honestly, he just looked awesome. It's just a character I think is cool in general. I was, predisposed to him being my favorite side character, and he was of the other metahumans. He's just great, and I hope we see more of him too. Yeah, and then Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl were also great. I'm excited to see more of Guy Gardner and Lanterns. And I think Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner are both going to be in Peacemaker Season 2, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them. And the plot overall, I feel like it just brought this really fun but hopeful, fun and hopeful side to the DC universe, where, you can have things happening like a kaiju loose in Metropolis, and you can have, I think they called it a proton river earlier at another part of the movie. I could be off on that. It's like this bright, colorful river, and like there's a black hole in it. Like there's just so much of the movie that is so far out there, and it's cool to see that they're really taking it in that direction. Like it doesn't feel like the last time around where it kind of seemed like they were just trying to do what Marvel was doing by just making it a big cinematic universe and still keeping it somewhat grounded. While this one, they're obviously trying to make it a big universe, but I feel like because they're not taking the grounded approach, they're just right off the bat saying, nope, like this is just out there. Like this is a zany, wacky, sometimes just weird comic book world. But I think that's great. Like that is what makes it stand apart. And that just has me so excited. But it's such a hopeful movie. There's themes of Superman and who he is, and I don't want to get into spoilers as of right now at least, but there's just a plot regarding, him questioning who he is and who he thought he was, and, who the world thinks Superman is, and they just took it there, and I loved it. Like, I loved Ma and Pa Kent, even though they're not in it much. They're great. Like, there's so now I guess I'm just going to say spoiler warning because I want to get into some spoilers and talk about specific scenes, but after Superman escapes the Pocket Universe prison that Lex kept him in, and he's just completely beat up and, he got destroyed, It's probably the weakest he's ever been in his life, considering that in the beginning of the movie it says he lost his first battle in 3 years at the beginning, and then this is even lower than that. But anyways, just going to the Kent farm where Lois brings him, the way his parents you can just see how much they love him, and I loved Pa Kent so much. And when Superman is sitting on the bench and he's saying, I'm not who I thought I was, my parents sent me here to conquer. When Pa Kent says, that says so much more about you, that you heard what you wanted to hear from the beginning, because deep down you are good. Parents aren't. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it's not parents' job to tell their children who to be. It's to give them the tools to figure it out for themselves and mess up along the way. Like, it's just beautiful, and the way it's delivered, and the way David Cornsweet reacts to it, it's so emotional and amazing. And then that leads directly into my very favorite scene of the movie, where you see children who are in Jarampur, and Baravia is going to invade, and because Lex gave them the go-ahead, and they know that Superman can't sweep in and save Jarampur. And the way that all these children in Baravia, they have this Superman flag, and the music starts building, this new iteration of the John Williams theme. The way the music starts building as the kids raise the flag and start chanting Superman, and then you see someone turn with tears in their eyes, and he starts chanting Superman, and it just, everyone starts chanting it, and they have the flag in the air and the music builds, and that to me is that is what Superman is. That scene just perfectly captures everything I want the character to be and everything I want him to represent. And honestly, in the movie theater, I felt like I was like gonna hyperventilate at that scene. Like, it was just pure joy, and it's really what I've been wanting And I just couldn't have been happier with the movie, honestly. Like, if I were to get into what I didn't like about it, it'd be little nitpicks. And honestly, right now, like, I just don't have a lot that comes to mind. And so it really is just overall so, it is such a positive experience for me whenever I watch the movie. I don't really have much bad to say. I loved it pretty much beginning to end. Oh, I need to talk about Crypto. I don't know how I almost forgot Crypto, but Crypto was obviously one of the standouts of the movie. I love that freaking dog. I have a dog named Lola, and she's pretty unruly and insane. She's still a puppy, but watching the whole movie, it was like, dude, this is just Lola with superpowers. Like, it was making me laugh so hard, the way that Crypto, jumps all over Superman, is biting at his heels, the way he messes up the Fortress of Solitude. And even in the end, when Superman whistles for Crypto, and it just cuts to a shot of Crypto sitting there in a pet store in a pile full of treats that he'd clearly broken through the window. Like, oh, it's just hilarious, and just such a sweet little dog. And I loved Crypto's character. It was such a genius idea to bring it into the movie, and I feel like the execution was so good. And that leads into, at the end, Supergirl shows up to get her dog. She's not there for very long, but the robots see Crypto slamming her around while she's just laughing. And they're like, I think we may have found the reason for his behavioral issues. And that was hilarious to me, just seeing Crypto slam Supergirl into the ground in excitement and just cracking the floor. Like, it's just hilarious. So not much of Supergirl. I don't really have a lot to say about the character, but I am so excited for the Supergirl movie next year. I guess today on social media, someone asked James Gunn, they commented, when are we getting Superman 2? And his response was define Superman 2, which, I mean, to me at least, that sounds like a team-up movie, and I think it'd be a little weird if they just kind of mirrored what the failed DCU did right off the bat, where you got a Superman movie and then you followed up with a Superman-Batman movie. I guess what I'm hoping for, because we get Supergirl next year, is hopefully both movies are successes. The Superman 2 that he's alluding to when he says that, I hope it's a Superman Supergirl movie, just like the Kryptonians, because that's my favorite side of DC. I love the Bat family. Like the Amazons are great. There's so much greatness in DC, but the Kryptonian side, Superman, that is my favorite. That is my favorite part, and so I'm really hoping that that's what it leads to. Overall, I just loved the movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm going again tomorrow with a buddy. I'm so excited to watch it. I can't wait to own it. Well, once it is at home, I'm looking forward to having a day. Maybe it's just Saturday I take aside to have a triple feature of Superman, the movie from 1978, Man of Steel, and Superman 2025. It's going to be a great time. It just reminded me why Superman is my favorite character, and I couldn't have been more happy with it. I'm so excited for this universe. James Gunn and everyone, you knocked it out of the park.